Hello, everyone. We are very extremely excited to have you here in Solidarity Studio. My name is Amina Umuhoza from Girls Club, and today I'm here with Margaret Butler. But now I'm just going to ask you to introduce yourself. Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me here today. As you said, I'm Margaret Butler. I'm one of the co-founders of Amplify Girls, which is a network of community-driven organizations across East and Southern Africa.
Mm.
We work together to amplify the voices of community-driven organizations, working with adolescent girls to develop girls' agency. And I come from Canada, and I am like to call myself a gender activist,
Mhm.
and I'm
Mm.
a mother of two girls.
Mm.
So yeah,
That sounds great. Sounds exciting. Let me ask you the first question.
yeah.
Could you share your personal story or example that demonstrate the transformative power of empowering and amplifying the voices of girls and young women through amazing initiatives like Amplify Girls?
Absolutely.
Mm.
My story actually begins in Rwanda.
Mm.
I lived here in 2006, 7, and 8, working with Partners in Health. And my story began there with this incredible organization that was in service
Mm.
of the communities of the people that
Mm.
they wanted to provide healthcare to. And through that work, I recognized the importance of working with adolescent girls
Mm.
and holistic care for adolescent girls. And so at that point, I actually co-founded a different organization called Comera,
Mhm.
and worked with incredible social workers on how to provide deep interventions for adolescent girls,
Mm.
right? Local social workers, leaders really understood the needs of adolescent girls and why it was so important to provide them with holistic care. And through that work, working with Comera for over 8 years, I really saw how much, and being a young woman myself, how much we need and deserve as individuals,
Mm.
right? That it's not just one intervention that's going to save our lives. It has to be education and healthcare and soft skills like
Mm.
girls' agency that is an imperative.
Mm.
And we have to focus on going deep into the work with adolescent girls. And it has to be done by community-based leaders as
Mm.
well. And so through that work, working with Eagles and working in the region with other organizations, I really saw the issue around proximate leaders not being part of conversations, not getting the funding,
Mm.
not having a seat at tables where they needed to be. They needed to create their own tables.
True.
um, and saying, there was something that we can do here to think about working together,
Mm.
sharing promising practices, doing collective research, building a stronger voice together. And so that's how the idea of Amplify Girls came to be, was around sort of saying, well, we recognize the value and importance of community-based interventions.
Mm.
We know that local leaders have the answers, that they understand the social dynamics that girls are facing, that they have the connections to community, that and they're often ignored.
Mm.
They're not funded because they're seen as too small. And so bringing together, as you mentioned, 18 organizations to talk about that issue and to figure out how we can amplify the voices of local leaders serving adolescent girls, and drive resources to
Mm.
the incredible work that they're doing. So that's how Amplify Girls came to
Mm.
be. And I think now we're a network of 40 organizations, and they're all deeply committed to adolescent girls and sharing promising practices, doing collective research together, advocating on global platforms. Many of them are here today at Women Deliver, and it's pretty inspiring to see.
Mm. Interesting. So, basing on the work that you do, Amplify Girls is already promoting girls' agency. So
Mhm.
now I'm curious, what does agency mean to you?
Yeah, and I can start by sharing a little bit about how we came to
Mm.
Girls Agency. In 2018, we asked these 18 organizations, what does success look like for adolescent girls? What is what does success look like for you as organizations? And, resoundingly, they said, we want girls to feel like they can create change in their
Mm-hmm.
community and for themselves and in their communities. We want girls to be able to leave our programs being able to like lift their heads up high, to feel like they have power and choice and can take action in their own communities. And so we spent a year thinking
Mm-hmm.
about and working with an incredible research team and Dr. Brenda Lowe and Dr. Seidel, thinking about how to create a measure for adolescent girls agency. And so it's been very participatory with our partners of really exploring the different facets of adolescent girls agency, both a set of self-beliefs and skills that they can take action with in their communities. So simply put, girls agency is an ability for a girl to create change in her own life and in her community. It is program agnostic. So
Mm-hmm.
it is, does she feel like she has power in her life? And
Mm-hmm.
does she feel like she can move throughout her community and affect change in her community?
That's really nice
Yeah.
because like now you have grown your experience in one way or another.
Yeah.
Now I'm just wondering what are the key factors or strategies that contribute to creating safe and inclusive space for girls to thrive and
Mhm.
participate in fully decision-making processes.
Yeah, that's such a great question. And for me, I get to learn from this incredible community of local leaders
Mm-hmm.
who share their insights on what is working. I think one of the most critical aspects, and I've been seeing this recently, is engagement of community. We talk about girls' agency and the importance of a girl to feel like she has power, that she can move within her community. But I think one of the critical aspects too is not only empowering the girl, but
Mm-hmm.
looking around at the environment around her as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that is inclusive of her parents, of the community, of looking at gender norms within the community. It is inclusive of working with schools. It is ensuring that she has access to health and healthcare and can have
Mm-hmm.
conversations around, what her health means to her and make choices. So for me, I think of it as not just one single thing that is going to
Mm-hmm.
support a girl to have agency. You have to look at a holistic manner. You have to
Mm-hmm.
think about all of the things that, as I said, as we deserve as individuals, as women and
Mm-hmm.
girls. And I think that oftentimes we just think, okay, there's got to be a silver bullet solution,
Mm-hmm.
one way to support a girl to have her achieve her goals. And for me, I really think that for girls, it has to be these sort of holistic interventions
Mm-hmm.
that address all of the pieces and making sure that all of those pieces are talking to one
Mm-hmm.
another, right? And while centering the girl and asking her,
Mm-hmm.
most importantly, what she wants and needs as well.
Mm. Yes, so in brief, for girls to be able to achieve their full potential,
Yeah,
there is a need of holistic interventions.
absolutely.
That's really true.
Absolutely.
So now, what are some of the call to actions that you can
Yeah.
convey to individuals, community, and even policymakers to support and promote the rights and agency of girls and young women?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the number one thing is including community-driven organizations in the conversation. They are the ones who are at the front line. They're the
Mm,
ones who are there on a daily basis. They were the ones who stayed during COVID, right?
mm,
They were the ones who didn't pack up and leave. They were there
mm,
providing food, providing healthcare, providing education, providing mental health services and support. And so, I'm heartened by what I'm seeing at Women
mhm,
Deliver with local leaders being at the center. But for me, it is continuing to push that agenda of, when we're talking about education systems, health systems, and setting up the infrastructure, we must include the last mile actors, and those are the little organizations that sometimes
mhm,
people, well, not sometimes, a lot of the time they exclude from policy, from, decision-making tables. And my ask is that, even though they might not span a country in
mhm,
terms of services, that they should be included and their
mm,
voices should be honored and heard.
mm.
Yeah.
That's very touching. Last but not least, what does solidarity mean to you?
So, solidarity for me means walking hand in hand. I guess I sort of come to this visual is what is coming up for me of walking hand in hand. That it is true partnership. It is,
Mm,
not holding one above the other. And I think of it also, not only holding hands, but as a web.
mhm,
Solidarity is a web of work that we have to do. And true solidarity, I think, is also grounded in trust.
mm,
And trust takes time, and we have to honor that aspect of the work too. I think in this work sometimes it's like fast, fast, fast,
mm,
like grant cycles, and we have to get work done. But what I think is an imperative in terms of the work that we do and that organizations do on the ground is that it is a long-term investment
mm,
in girls. It is a long-term investment in communities, and true solidarity, true trust takes time to develop, and we have to be there for the long term.
mm, mm. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you so much, Margaret Butler, for this awesome
Ah,
conversation
thank
in our
you.
Solidarity Studio. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.